Hello everybody, welcome back to Max Reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban and Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is going to be part 2 of our journey to Fantastic Beasts' Secrets of Dumbledore, where we're going to be reviewing 2 Harry Potter or Fantastic Beasts films in one video. And so today we have Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire. So let's get talking about them. So today with Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire, they had 2 different directors. The first 2 Harry Potter movies have been directed by Chris Columbus, who he gave this sort of childish magic and energy to them. And then for these 2 films, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban was directed by Alfonso Cuarón, and then Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire was directed by Mike Newell. And then since that, every single Harry Potter movie has been, or Wizarding World movie has been directed by David Yates. So for me, I really enjoyed what Chris Columbus brought. It was something different. It was something not exactly simple, but just magical. And I liked what he did, a little bit more less mature, more childish fun. And then with Prisoner of Azkaban, we really get into the darker turn. It's not full on dark, but still, it's a bit of a darker turn. So, starting us right off, Prisoner of Azkaban, it just starts off weird. And this movie is weirder than the rest of the Harry Potter movies, I would say. It also has a better sense of style than Chris Columbus's did. Alfonso Cuarón, it's hard to say his name sometimes. I'm not too good with names sometimes, but he gives this style that I really enjoy. And so we have, like, the aunt comes over to Harry Potter's, and then she blows up and just floats away. Then you have the weird night bus, and then you go to Hogwarts, and stuff is not doing too well. And it just has this sense a bit more of danger. The Dementors are introduced here, and they're probably, I'd say, my favorite creature in the Harry Potter universe. Like, I haven't seen Fantastic Beasts, and I know there's a ton of creatures in there, obvious from the title, but currently, Dementors are my favorite because they're so cool, different. They're like wraiths or wraths, like the people with the sickles standing there, death with skulls sort of thing, but they just are a different concept. I really enjoy them. They're really cool, and they have just a darker tone. They look really good in this movie. And Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm going to admit it wasn't as good as I remembered in the first half. Like, in the first half, you have this sense of style, but I wasn't like, wow, this is amazing. I was like, this is solid. Lupin's in there, so you'll have him and Harry actually learning how to produce a Patronus. You have you have Hermione just showing up randomly and trying to figure out what's going on with that. Ron, he doesn't really do too much. And in these next few movies where, like, he was fun enough in the first 2 movies, now he gets a bit unbearable at times. And that's really frustrating for me because in the books, Ron is my favorite. He's my favorite. I just really enjoy him. He's such a good character. But in the movies, I just feel like what they gave him with the writing, he was just a bit too much of a douche. So that's not in this movie as much, but he still, it's hard to explain. He just sort of gets a bit more agitated at little things and not as just charming as he was in the first 2 movies. And you get a bit more of the teenage angst going on here. They changed stuff from the book, and it turns out great. This movie is still in the longer Harry Potter movies, and I'm fine with that. It just works so well. And then you have the time travel scene, the time turner, which just works so well. But there's just this plot holes here and there with the time turner where it's introduced in this movie and never used again. They should have just destroyed it or something because that didn't work super well. We also have Michael Gambon taking over for Dumbledore because just for me, I said it in my last video, I prefer Michael Gambon. I just feel like he gives more presence to Dumbledore. He is definitely more imposing than the other Dumbledore from the first two movies. And I just feel like he did a better job, in my opinion. Like, it's your own opinion on that, but I just feel like he worked better for me in the movies. And so he's there. In this movie, he doesn't do as much, but what he does is fairly interesting, and it's just cool to see him there. You have some funner stuff going on, just weird and quirky, but I really enjoy it. It's just a good weird. And you have the Prisoner of Azkaban and Sirius Black, and just when they all get into the house and you have Snape, Lupin, and Sirius all talking to each other, it's just so well done. Like, after we get into the second half, it gets really good with you getting to see, hey, that's what that was with that thing and that, and oh, and how everything works with the death, with going back in time and the death of the Griffin. It just works so well. You also have great performances here by all the adults. Lupin he's not super memorable, but what time he has here is solid enough, and he's the friendly teacher, but he doesn't give much personality. Whereas when you had Gilderoy Lockhart in the room, you would know it was Gilderoy Lockhart. When you have Lupin in the room, he's basically sleeping there. So, it's cool when you see, like, the werewolf stuff and everything going on with Snape and how the, Ron's rat was actually Peter Pettigrew. You have the Marauders map showing up. It's just a solid movie. It's not as amazing as I remember. And I feel like maybe I'm giving some stuff a bit too high scores with this stuff, but it's just not as good as I remember. And so originally it was like, this is amazing. Now I'm sort of lowering it down. I'm feeling a bit on my list. It's still high. I still really enjoy it. It's dripping with style. And I still give it a 9 out of 10. But it's not as amazing as I remember. I'm seeing a few more plot holes, a few more things that are like, but it's still solid movie. I'm just making little critiques here and there. And that'll lead us to Goblet of Fire, which, a very hard movie for me to just even think about, because Goblet of Fire is the turning point where when Cedric Diggory dies, the Harry Potter franchise, the Wizarding World franchise, changes. It takes a shift into a much darker tone, which had been teased a bit in Prisoner of Azkaban, but this movie just cements it down. That you could point that little point out, that's when everything got dark. For me, this movie has so many great parts. I love the return of Voldemort. I really do enjoy a bunch of the stuff that happens before the tournament, where you have this goblin being introduced to everybody and Mad-Eye Moody. It's just very interesting to me. Dumbledore is even better in this movie. And then you have the tournament, which should be one of the most interesting things ever. And it's not. It's just not as interesting to me. It's not as fun to me as I thought it would be. There's some very cringy things in here with Myrtle, but it's still okay. It's an okay movie. I'm very divided because there's the things I love, the things that I hate, the things that are push it up and push it down. So just starting us in like chronological order. For this movie, we don't even see the Dursleys in this movie. We just start at the Weasleys. So that's something different. You have to change it up a bit. And then we're introduced to Cedric Diggory, who I just don't... Cedric Diggory, to me, is just fine. I feel like him and Harry should have been better friends in the movie. That probably would have worked better. So it would have been a bit more of a loss. We also have Hermione being so unbearable and so just lemon lip, just teenage angst, teenage girl sort of thing going on here, where she's just mad at everybody for everything, and Ron's being really teenage angst. Harry isn't as much. He's just being in the middle of this battle between Ron and Hermione. The whole ball thing is really just seriously, where you have Ron going out with some random twin, same with Harry, where Hermione's going out with Victor Crumb and Cho is going out with Cedric Diggory. I just feel like it's just the romantic relationships in the Harry Potter franchise don't work until we get to Deathly Hallows, because this, and then also everything that happens with Ginny in the next movies, I don't think they work that well until we get to Deathly Hallows. And this movie just doesn't work. I'm sorry. The romantic stuff, I'm fine with the romantic movies, just this movie doesn't handle it as well. But the tournament is next, and who put his name in the Goblet of Fire and all that with Harry. And we get in the actual tournament, and it's not as, like, oh, wow, that's horrible, as it seems like it would be. He's just fighting a dragon, and then he goes underwater, saves 2 people, and then he has to go through a maze. It's seriously not the hardest thing in the world. It's also not super engaging. Like, I thought it would be more engaging, but it isn't. And then you have Mad-Eye Moody, which polarized so many people, because his performance, his just actions, like, when he's in the room, Defense Against Dark Arts teacher. I'm going to rank all the Defense Against Dark Arts teacher. I just decided I thought it'd be a fun thing to do. And Mad-Eye Moody, for me, is one of the hardest things about this movie, because I love everything with him. How he's just, Malfoy is trying to attack Harry, and he's got the one, and Harry's back is turned, so Moody turns him into an animal and starts bouncing him up and down. And then you also have him introducing them to the curses. He realizes that he went a bit too hard on Neville, and then he decides to chat with him. It's just really good. I enjoy Mad-Eye Moody so much. And then you get the reveal that it was Barty Crouch, this guy who's loyal to Voldemort. And we meet the real Mad-Eye Moody, and then whenever we see him in the next few movies, it's not the actual Mad-Eye that we know. So I guess Barty Crouch is the guy who is Mad-Eye Moody that I've just been raving about, where he's so good. So Barty Crouch probably isn't as bad as I thought it was, because he seriously is just nice to Neville, a bit harder on everybody, but just great teacher. And it's so hard. For me, I just sort of turn my brain off and think, this is the real Moody, because the Barty Crouch stuff doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. But I really enjoy Barty Crouch pretending to be Mad-Eye Moody as a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. But just moving on from that, when we get to Voldemort's return, it is seriously, it feels like the most tension. Like, if you think the first one, seriously, it was Harry and he touched Voldemort's face and he just, ghost. Second one, he fights a monster with a sword, but, like, he had help. He had the Phoenix and he had a sword. And then the third one, you have him and he's just trying to figure everything out with going Time Turner and just all this craziness that's going on. And then you get to this, and Voldemort literally returns. A guy chops his arm off, throws it in there, takes Harry's blood. Voldemort returns, and then he's torturing Harry Potter. And this feels like the deepest we've gotten with Harry Potter, where we're just really not in a good place, where really, like, he could die. Voldemort looks so good. I enjoy him so much in this movie, particularly. When he returns, he just, he assembles everybody. He's just so good as Voldemort. Just, I love him in this movie. He's just perfect. In previous movies, I have my problems with him, but in this movie, at least, he just is done so well with a great performance. And so Voldemort's return is done so well. And then you have the fight. Harry gets the one, and then he just gets away with Cedric's body. He comes back, and everybody's like shocked that he's dead. And that's you could even tell with the ratings. The first 3 were rated PG. After this, it goes to PG-13, and it just gets darker. And I enjoy that about this movie, that it does get darker. It's the turning point. And then we get to the ending, which I just feel the ending was done so sloppily. Where Moody, oh no, it's this other guy, Barty Crouch. We find the real Mad-Eye Moody. Done. That's it. We don't talk about that again. We don't talk about Mad-Eye Moody. It's just done. And it just feels so rushed, where you have like this 2.5-hour movie, and it just rushes to that. And it's just like, because I feel like they should have added a bit more, because this is a very long book. This is an extremely long book. This is where the books went from, I don't even know how many pages, but they were about the same size, and then they, boom, giant book. So this probably should have been added a few more minutes to give that elaboration, or cut out some dance stuff that didn't work, or some teenage angst, and add it with figuring out this stuff with Moody, and this more tension, or maybe figuring out what happens to Barty Crouch. And then we move on to our finale, where we literally have the death of Cedric Diggory, and then we move to, happy ending. And that's this movie should have ended on a down point. I feel like some movies, if you end on a just sad note, or like end on a downer, it works so well. I feel like this movie probably should have ended on a down note. Another thing they should cut out, like the news reporter lady that was sort of snobby, she should have been cut out. I don't know why she was in this movie. Cut her out. Add more Mad-Eye Moody stuff, or add a darker ending, and then end with like Voldemort in Harry's dreams or something to set up the stuff in the next movie. So that's what my ending would have been. And maybe just fix the whole Triwizard Tournament thing. Have it be a little less cheesy, like when you have all the girls giving flowers, and Ron seems so stricken and so stupid in this movie, where it's not explained that the girls make you fall in love with them like it is in the books. He's just falling in love with them randomly. And then all like the Russian guys, it seems like that's just what I think they, coming from Russia, sort of thing. But they should have probably been cut out a bit too. But just, make it a bit more challenging, a bit more, I don't know what's the word. What is the word? A bit more epic. And so this movie has its flaws, but I'm just going to go ahead, and I think I'm going to give this one a 8.5 out of 10. This is still a solid movie. I know I might be a bit high with my rankings. Just when I think of 8, that's my average for very good movie. And so this, you know what? Nope. 8 out of 10. I'm sorry. Just it has too many flaws. I'm still thinking about all the good stuff, and I'm not thinking about all the bad stuff in this movie, where it just doesn't work in so many points. So this is still solid movie. So is Prisoner of Azkaban. Azkaban is better, but just Goblet of Fire I have more to talk about. So thank you for watching. Leave your comments down below, and then we're going to keep moving on with this Harry Potter series. We'll see how far we could get before we get to Secrets of Dumbledore. Thank you for watching. I'm Braden. This is Max Reviews. Like, subscribe to Max Reviews. Braden out.